What prompted me to build this saw originally was I was operating a small truss plant in Central Florida. We did upper end houses where there were a lot of 1s and 2 cuts. A typical job might have 1,000 webs, but there'd be 600 different webs in that job. The saws on the market, and we looked at most of them, would not handle that sort of cut. Most of the bigger saws take 2-3 people to run. They're very expensive, and when they get into these low multiple cuts, it just takes a lot of time. So we decided, let's go ahead and build our own saw. What we built was a single blade computerized saw operated by one man. It uses very little waste, it uses up very little space, and it's very safe. There's no other saw as safe on the market today. We only use the best quality materials available today. The best electronics, things that are going to hold up well. Every plant operator knows that the best saw in the world is not going to do you any good if it's not running. So we've tried to keep everything, the layout as simple as possible, the motors, etc., built, over-engineered from what they need to do, because these things need to run. A lot of cases are running 2 shifts a day in, day out. A lot of plants don't give them the maintenance that they really need, but we want something that's just going to keep on going and going. That's what the people need. If a machine goes down for a day, it's a big deal to a plant operator. Yeah, at the 2001 BCMC show, our basic demonstration was to cut 4 different webs out of a 10-foot 2x4. What we're trying to show was that we could cut different webs quickly. Also, we were trying to show that we could cut very short webs, which the other saws cannot do. What we ended up with was being able to cut 4 different webs in 20 seconds. At a nearby booth for one of our competitors, he had a sign up that said his robotic saw would set up in 27 seconds, whereas we had just cut 4 different webs in 20 seconds, which is clearly better. Another consideration when we built the saw was to make it easy to operate. We let the computer do all the thinking for the operator. The operator brings up the job, hits the go button, and it just starts cutting. All the operator needs to do then is put wood through the machine. Other saws, the operator has to be fairly skilled. In fact, most saws, they'll actually send their operators to a school to learn how to run the saw. The saw can be taught in as little as 10 minutes.
The saw is so easy to operate. We have taken people that never ran a component saw or a computer and put them in one of these saws, and within a half hour they were up and running with no problem at all. Literally within 1 week, your sawyer, non-experienced, would be at 185 to 200 pieces an hour. And that is just about 4 times as much as you're going to get out of your best pull-arm saw. First day the saw arrived, I was reluctant, but Jim, the inventor of this saw, asked if I would bring someone over to the saw that had no experience whatsoever with a component saw. Jim showed her the basics, and within 5 minutes she was cutting material, and within 1 hour she was exceeding 75 pieces an hour. One thing I have to emphasize, Jim and her could not communicate. She doesn't understand English.
One of the first saws we sold was the West Coast Truss in Tampa, Florida. Their main reason for buying the saw was to save on labor. What they found was, once they got going, they were not only saving on labor, they were saving on material as well. Not only didn't they have to stock 10 different lengths of lumber, they were able to actually save on scrap enough each month to make the payment on the saw. Anything else they saved as far as labor was just extra. One of our next saws we sold was to a company that had 2 auto omnis on the night shift. They were involving 6 people in that cutting operation. What they were trying to do was cut out the night shift entirely. They bought 1 saw. They were able to do that. The payback on the saw was less than a year.
After the purchase of my first TCT saw, 1 week after that I purchased the second. It's made a tremendous difference in my volume. I have literally cut out every overtime hour in my shop. I was running my pull arm saws and my component saws 48 hours a week. I'm running my shop and getting the same volume, running 36 hours a week on sawyers now. When you run the numbers and move your people around and the volume that you will get out of this saw is a payoff in less than 1 year.
It's safe, it saves money, it saves time, it saves material. It just makes good sense.